Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're going to do a playthrough of Medieval Engineers. So, what is Medieval Engineers? Well, if you've seen my channel, you've seen me do a little bit of Space Engineers, and if you're familiar with Space Engineers, well, this is the medieval equivalent of Space Engineers, so there you go. It's made by the same developers that are currently doing Space Engineers as well, and this is another early access game, as Space Engineers is. And it has a very different feel, and, well, it is medieval, and you're not in space anymore. As we can see, we have air and trees and grass. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty impressed with how beautiful they were able to make the game, even in this early access build. I've been pretty impressed with the work of the developers in any case. There is a new mechanic to this game, and that is structural integrity, and it's something we're going to focus a lot on this video. Now, I did a little bit before I started recording. You now can essentially sculpt the Earth. And what I did here is I did the sculpt, and I can show you here that the Earth doesn't really, as of yet, follow the rules of the structural integrity. As we can see, this area of terrain is just floating in air. But just to show you roughly how you can do the terrain building, you have a choice of different terrain, grass and what have you. So if we did a grass here, let's go down. If we do grass, we create grass. So essentially we can create the terrain and mold the terrain as we want. And that's essentially what I did. I just, so if we go to soil, what I did to make that little squiggle, or snake, or whatever you want to call it, is I just pulled on up and drew out a shape. And it kind of corrects itself. I don't know if you could see it, kind of like molding itself into a particular shape, into a more set shape as it went. A little bit rough, and then it kind of works its way to smooth out the edges, or maybe not. I kind of do see some a little rough edges. Now I do have the visual settings pretty highly cranked up, and I did notice a little bit of frame rate drop. But I wanted to let you guys see the visuals for what they are. Now I don't know what the blue box in the sky is. I don't know if there is a limit to how far I can move. Let's find out, because a lot of this initial video is just trying things out. Let's go ahead and looks like we do have kind of a wall here. Yeah, so we're kind of limited to that blue box that we see at the moment. But as I said, this is early access. This is the very first day that this game is now available. As you can see, I can fly around just like you can in Space Engineers, and that helps. This being creative mode, which by the way is the only mode that's available right now, it helps you to do some of the construction things. It makes sense to have that in creative mode. So what we're going to focus on is the structural integrity, and what is it? Now, if you're a little bit familiar with this game, you're already kind of aware that this is a mechanic that exists, and I'll go ahead and I'll just demonstrate it to you real quick here. So let's fly up here and make ourselves a little, there we go, and then we're going to make an impossible structure on purpose. So far so good. I'm actually kind of surprised that that's staying up, but if we do a little bit more out this way, we notice that, boosh, it all falls down. So we can't just create floating structures like we can here. They actually have to, follow the laws of physics to some respect. Otherwise, they crumble and break. So let's do a little bit of structure creation and see how this works for us. So we're going to go ahead and just make a... There we go. Didn't want to do that the first time I clicked on it. So we have a foundation here. So we have to be kind of clever with how we do our building. Now there is a number of blocks to choose from, as we see here. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this stone wall. We'll just make it out of stone to be simple. So the stone wall was 4. So there's our stone wall. Now there are a couple features in this game that are pretty unique to this version that isn't in Space Engineers yet. And one of them is the fact that you can build a block within another block, which is something you previously could not do, as I am doing right here. So I can actually form a corner, which is very, very neat that you can do that. And we'll do the same thing here. So, really nice building as far as that goes. Alright, so let's go ahead and build our structure. And the thing that we have to keep in mind, though, is the structural integrity element of everything. So, let's go ahead and make another corner here. And I really love the music, too. A very different feel than Space Engineers, as it should be. So this structure is going to be very basic. I didn't even pay attention to the tiles as I counted out. Let's see what we have as far as a doorway. It looks like 6 is a doorway for us. So we can flip this around. We have a couple of doorway things here that we can build off of. But let's go ahead and see the limits of what we can do as far as this structural integrity. So I'm going to build this up a couple levels. And switch this around. Alright. Now the one thing I've kind of noticed is as of yet, I don't know a way to clean up the rubble that we created in that earlier experiment. So what I may do here is actually save the game and just make sure that anything we do can be fixed, so we can experiment with some of these mechanics. Okay, it doesn't let me build all the way up to the corner without using the Alt, and essentially all I do is I press Alt to do that. Alright, so now as far as the roof goes, let's go ahead and save just so we can reload this if it all goes wrong. We could do a bunch of different things, but let's go ahead and look at what we have as far as our inventory goes. So we have the walls that we've been using. I wonder if we can use this as floors. We have wooden floors. I want to actually use stone as a ceiling and see what it lets us get away with. So far, it looks like the blocks that we have to use are pretty basic. We have some arches now. This is an interesting block. If it has a plus sign, it indicates that it is a variable block. So let's go ahead and select this block, and we'll bring it down to 2. So let's see how it's variable. So I'm doing the mouse wheel, and essentially this gives us a number of choices for what it can be. Unfortunately, that's not really the block I want to go for. The one thing I'm curious about is, can we use this as a floor? I'm using the different rotation things, and it doesn't look like I can. So we even get really crazy, and we use this as our ceiling, and we'll see how well this holds up, structural integrity wise, because I'm going to imagine that the walls won't be able to take this weight. Oop. I want to get over here so it actually places how I want it to. And as we see, it crumbles down under the weight. And that's essentially how the structural integrity works. So you can't just make these silly structures like this and then the whole thing goes down. And as we can see, our structure failed horrifically as the walls just buckled under all the strain. Which, by the way, you can actually see the structural integrity if you want to look at it. We're not seeing anything at the moment because it is alright at the moment, but we could probably also demonstrate that here in a second. If here we go. Let's do a really tall tower, and we can watch. Well, actually, it's all just staying green, so I guess it's not really. That's probably not a good example of that. But in any case, you see that that's just way too much weight for this thing to take, and it all falls to pieces. Alright. So I'm going to reload here in a second. and I'll come back when I reload our building, and we can do the ceiling maybe a little bit more intelligently. Okay, and we're back. So, what I'd like to do with this is just maybe demonstrate some ways that we can do the exact same ceiling, but make it so that it actually doesn't fall apart on us. So, what we're going to do is on the first floor, we're going to do a number of, let's see, pillars. Like so. And then we're going to do some archways. And I'm going to rotate that around. Like so. And we'll do the same thing over here. And now we have some supports. Let's see if this gives us a better... Maybe I need to do the... I'm noticing that I'm not... I just wanted to look at the structural integrity. Let's go back to the columns here. And obviously it looks like we need to... Okay, where is it? Alright. I want to put the pillars so that they are like so. And the thing looks a little bit better. Alrighty. I'm actually kind of surprised how nice this looks. And if we kind of think of this as like a grand hall, it doesn't really detract too much from the visual appeal of the room. It is more or less still an open room, but now it can support possibly quite a lot of weight. But we'll save this again because I kind of like the structure. And let's try and see how this works for us and see if it will take the weight. Okay, let's put on our structural integrity. So now we can actually see the structural integrity. So we see some orange spots in the building, but more or less the thing is standing. We do see a lot more darker colors inside, but the arches are doing their job. And we could probably even reinforce these arches if we wanted to. So let's look at our other choices here. I would like to see like more variations of arches and what have you. Oh, we did have a stone ceiling. I wasn't paying attention to that. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. Huh. This might be something I have to... How is this different from the normal block? So we've got stone block and we've got stone ceiling. That's actually a good question. I want to see how this is different. So let's go up and let's delete all of the blocks that we just put up on as our ceiling. And okay. Unfortunately, it seems like the range of the cursor is a little bit limited. There we go. So get all of that, get rid of it. So let's see what this does now. So, it doesn't seem like it's all that different. And in the picture, it looks like this, but... Oh, maybe because I didn't actually select it. Oops. Okay, so let's put that in our 5 slot. Okay, never mind. I'm just an idiot. Okay. So that looks like this. Well, you know what? That would make it more powerful. Yeah, okay, I like that. I like that idea a lot, actually. So what we'll do is we'll do something like this, which will increase the structural integrity because of the natures of an arch. And let's just do that. And hopefully this stands while we're doing it. It doesn't seem like the structural integrity is that cruel that it won't stand. So you notice there's this big bit here where there's, you know, it doesn't look all that bright. But then we just do this, and there you go, you've walled it off. So isn't that so cool that you can now put the blocks inside blocks, that it really makes it work as far as a structure. And there you have it. Alright, so let's continue with this. So what was that? 5 was our arch? Yep. Alright, so we just continue with this structure, and this will probably be a lot more structurally sound. And we'll just continue with our construction. And then we'll rotate. So essentially all we did was, rather than just using solid blocks, we used arches to make our ceiling a lot more structurally sound. And now we can do our walling off. Oop, I rotated that the wrong way around. I think we want that. There we go. The putting blocks inside of other blocks takes a little bit of getting used to know what the correct orientation needs to be to do some of the construction. So let's rotate that, and there you have it. Now when we go inside, first off, if we put our structural integrity, we still see a little bit of color change, but if we go inside, I'm getting the feeling that it will be a lot better. Yeah, see how much better that is? We don't have that very dark orange color anymore. I mean, it's a little bit yellow, but it's not too bad. And if we go inside, it actually looks quite nice. So this is how you want to kind of build your structures. You want to give them nice arches, and you can use columns with arches. And this looks, you know, fantastic. The way that they can blend the blocks, you know, so well into each other. I mean, you get a little bit here where maybe it doesn't look as smooth, or you know, it doesn't mesh perfectly, but it's actually not all that bad. And honestly, that part up here where I put the wall in, where that space where the arch was, is seamless. It's fantastic how well that meshes in. It's actually blowing me away. I'm actually surprised at how well these blocks merge together like this. And as I said, we've got a nice, great hall, and you know, it's very simplistic in the way that I put it together, but it didn't take a whole lot of time to build a really nice looking room that is actually also structurally sound. And we can add to this structure, let's see here. Let's get some stairs, and there's multiple different kinds of stairs too, which I'm very glad to see. So now we have those. We can go ahead and give ourselves a way to get inside our new structure, and there you have it. So a very simple and quick build that is quite structurally sound. And you know, it lacks flair on the outside, and there's a lot we can do to liven it up, add windows and what have you. But you know, this is a really good demonstration, in my opinion, of how the structural integrity works, and how the different blocks mesh together. And you know, I'm really looking forward to this game and playing a lot more of it and doing a lot more experiments with the different builds. I hope you guys are too, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.